Hey everybody, welcome back. Dave Fleischman, Tom Leyden. We're coming to you from the studio. Do you like that? It's called a studio. What do you call it?
It's kind of like a studio.
Sort of like a studio of APR Physical Therapy here in Foxborough. An interesting case that Dave actually has some unique kind of tangential experience with, which is a knee injury, MCL sprain? Is that what we're talking about specifically?
Well, they weren't specific on his case.
Okay.
You're talking about Zay Flowers?
We are talking about Zay Flowers to set the stage. So former Boston College wide receiver who's now one of the star receivers for the Baltimore Ravens, did not play in Saturday's game between the Ravens and Steelers, but the hope is to get him back for what will be an enormous game next week when the Ravens take on the Bills. So how do you get one of your most dynamic speedsters back on the field?
Wow, that's a tough question. So what we know is he's got a knee sprain. So what does knee sprain mean? That means it's a strain of a ligament. So when you have a sprain, it's ligament, strain, it's muscle, just to give you some difference. So he's got a injury to a ligament. It's not a tear, or at least we know it's not a full tear. He needs lots of rehab. This guy, we're treating him around the clock. He's getting laser. He's getting soft tissue work. We're working on mobility. We're really trying to bring down his inflammation. And when he goes back, he'll be wearing a brace, most likely.
Really?
Yes, he'll be wearing a brace. Because let's call it an MCL. So this kind of goes back to, I had a similar case 3 years ago, KP football player. It was against the Hawk Championship, sprained his MCL pretty bad. His knee was a balloon. He was a senior, and he basically told everybody that he's playing his last game in the Super Bowl, regardless of whatever. Long story short, I treated this kid round the clock. Got him to wear a brace, even though he didn't want to wear a brace. And he came in and actually had a tremendous game against CM. Even though they lost, but at halftime, he kept it close. And actually, Jake made a goal line stance. So shout out to Jake Sullivan, buddy. Still remember you.
Still talking about you.
Yeah, got you ready. So it was very similar to Zay Flowers. So they're going to have to work. The training staff is going to work overtime on Zay Flowers. We're talking throwing everything at him. But probably I would say he's getting a fair amount of laser treatment for sure.
Okay, you brought up two key things that I want to ask you about. One is you're against the clock. So how can that possibly affect what you do as a staff when you know you are on a timeline that is rigid and will not bend for you?
Yeah, the training staff works OT. Let's just say that if you're young on that staff, and I got some friends that work in the NFL. They're going to the house. They're doing treatments around the clock. That athlete's in the training room. We're testing him out on a daily basis to see where he is. It's a lot of hours for sure.
Then the second thing you brought up was brace. Now, when you say brace, I wish we almost had a visual so you could see.
Right. So,
what kind of brace we talking?
We're talking, for him, he's going to be wearing most likely a hinged brace because the knee is a hinged joint. Okay. But let's say he sprained his MCL on the inside. We want a hinged brace to help support that medial lateral support. So when he goes to make a cut, even though he's got some instability there, that brace will help stabilize him.
Okay, so what if he says, I can't play with a brace, Dave. I'm Zay Flowers. I'm one of the fastest guys in the league. Can we do this without a brace?
We can tape him. There's lots of things we can try. Basically, it's going to come down to his ability to deal with pain. So you're talking pain modulation, whatever that may be, whether it's oral or direct, and trying to get him in the right mental state of mind as well as the physical being, so he can perform at the highest level. It's a challenge.
Yeah,
playing in a brace is different, and a lot of athletes don't like it. And if some of them I don't want to wear a brace because then I'm a target. I get it, but this is the playoffs.
Everyone kind of knows he's hurt. I think people know what knee he hurt, and I think people know that. That's not an excuse for him.
Sure.
For him, it's probably just about slowing him down.
Yeah, absolutely. And will he be as explosive as usual? Probably not.
But he's trying to get back on the field. And just getting back on the field and even pulling attention away from some of your teammates, being a bit of a decoy sometimes.
Yes, and that's kind of, getting him back out on the field is, even though if he's not as super productive, it's allowing someone else to be productive because they still have to account for him.
And that's not in the stat sheet. That's not in the box score.
No.
But unique. And when I raised this as a potential injury to talk about with Dave, he goes, absolutely, because I knew I had Jake who I got back to the Super Bowl. So a little case study there about how it affects your life and how if you have an injury that you're dealing with and you need some advice or counsel from an experienced crew, that Dave leads the crew at APR PT, give him a call. Go to aprpt.com, visit the 2 studios here in Foxborough or the one up on Washington Street in Westwood. And obviously you'll be in good hands, very experienced crew who knows what they're doing. So as always, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And we'll be back after the divisional weekend. Zay, good luck, buddy.
Let's go.